All right, welcome back. It is watch along time. This was a crazy playoff game. Let's pick this up with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Rudy Gobert hits a free throw to put Minnesota up 1. Anthony Edwards is briefly on the bench. There's another dunk from the Mavs. That's their 10th dunk of the game. And this is when they really started spamming this staggered screen pick and roll action at the top of the key. You see Gobert comes out because they're out of the drop coverage here. Kyrie just gets by it, and then there's no backside help. A lot of talk in game one about the drop coverage. We'll talk more about that. Luka goes under the screen there at about 10 feet. Anderson can't hit the floater. So we saw the Wolves up higher. You see Gobert again. Mixing coverages, putting 2 on the ball. Jaden McDaniels' length deters the shot there. There's 2 more on the ball. And, oh, wow, that is a crazy play by Naz Reid. So Naz steps up and shows on the Kyrie pick here. That means the short roll breaks free. Gobert steps up, but Anderson is pulled way out high because of Luka Doncic. So that backside is open, and Naz with an amazing recovery to break that up. PJ can't quite finish on the floater. So now the Wolves basically run that same staggered screen with Conley. Gets Naz Reid. Oh, that is another 3 for Naz Reid. And PJ Washington leaves him to get inside Gobert here on that roll, even though Luka's in the lane. Easy read from Conley, and an easy read 3. That's Naz's 7th 3 of the game in 8 tries. So out of the timeout, Kyle Anderson is on Luka. That's an adjustment here in the fourth quarter. Jaden McDaniels is still in the game. And another lob to one of the Lob brothers, Gafford or Lively. And it's just a pin down, basically floppy action for Luka on the baseline. He curls up and then takes that curl. And even though Gobert is stepped up and Reid has inside position, Naz falls for this up fake from Luka, who has been doing this all game long, just manipulating these big Timberwolves defenders into thinking that there's a closeout. It's an extraordinary sort of head fake and pass. And he's been getting Karl Anthony Towns multiple times throughout this game. He's using his eyes to look one way, leading to a closeout on a shooter just to get a little space to hit a lob to one of the big men. Chris Finch was just livid, saying for the big men, you have to stay inside. Remember, 12 total dunks in this game. For Dallas, 11 of them from Gafford or Lively. So back to the fourth. Similar action for Conley off a couple screens here. And that's a great block by Gafford off the drop. And then Luka going for the touchdown. And Gafford hits it falling down. He had actually missed his last couple of these outlet passes. Leaves this one maybe a touch short as well. But Gafford's just so much bigger, he can go get it. And then the crazy acrobatics on the finish. And Dallas goes back up 2. Very close game 1. Very close game 2. 18-point Minnesota lead earlier in this one, but the Mavs ate that up quickly. And Naz Reid again. So they get Anderson initiating the pick and roll with Edwards on the bench. Again, PJ Washington sinks in to help Luka on that switch with Gobert. That leaves Naz, and this time the hard closeout to run him off the line. And watch Rudy kind of seal Gafford, looking for that old post-up veteran wily move. We are back even at 96. The Naz Reid show continues. Naz had 23 in this game to lead all Minnesota scorers. And we get a moving screen. So Dallas challenges this. It's another great challenge from Jason Kidd, who I think has been on a heater with these challenges. And it's a successful challenge because you see Conley holding the waist there. So no moving screen, back to live action. McDaniels back on Luka out of the stoppage with Anderson to the bench. Edwards is back in. He picks up his usual assignment for this series, Kyrie Irving. High pick and roll with Jones. They get the switch they want on Conley. It's good defense. Maybe a little too close and a foul. Let's see. Reggie Miller thinks there's no landing room. I mean, it's the leg and the kick and the lower body contesting a fadeaway jumper. Kyrie uses his size, though, over Conley, and on that shot, he gets the free throws earlier. He hit a big wing three because of that size advantage. So that's part of the reason why they're hunting that mismatch. He's only like 2 inches taller, but he plays much bigger. Kyrie actually misses the first, makes the second. It's 1 of 2. Some pitch action here. Trying to get that movement again from the defense. That's a nice pass from Jaden McDaniels. This is a really nice little set. They put Edwards in the corner to occupy Jones. Pitch into the pick and roll. Now watch Jaden McDaniels after the pitch. He's going to circle all the way out off a Gobert screen in the corner. At the last second, Luka realizes he's got to get out to it. That creates the help from Lively. Probably an overreaction or miscommunication. Gobert rolls free, and they get a dunk. So it's nice work out of the timeout for the Timberwolves to go back in front. Little isolation from Kyrie on the wing here. Backs down Edwards. A lot of dribbling. Really physical, good defense. And Dallas's process down the stretch of these games has usually been really good. Kyrie thought he was fouled there. Usually if Kyrie thinks he's fouled, it's a foul. No call, no whistle that time. Another pick and roll with Conley and Gobert. Edwards much more aggressive off the bench than he's been earlier in this game. 3-point lead for Minnesota. And now they go back to the Luka 1-5 pick and roll. You see Gobert way up. Chisels inside. The Wolves defense recovers here. Kyrie looking for some Kyrie magic. It's dunk number 11. Oh, what? Oh, man, okay. So Luka's waiting to see where the defense commits. Naz comes off the corner, so he hits PJ. Edwards closes there. Kyrie doesn't want the deep one as Naz recovers. And right now, they're pretty reset. Naz Reid's fairly quick, but Kyrie just enough to get through. Loses the ball, then throws the lob in one motion. I have no idea what qualifies as a self-pass, but that is an incredible recovery. Conley still initiating offense. The patented right-handed floater. So let's see if Dallas goes back to that staggered screen. Yep, same thing they've been running a lot here lately. And McDaniels gets hit with the rear view foul. But the thing for me to call out on this play is Jaden McDaniels, who's struggled navigating these screens throughout the series. He goes under here, which I think is a much better idea when the screen is 10 feet behind the three-point line. But he still doesn't really take a good angle to recover to Luka. Luka gets him on his hip, and from there, it's always trouble. Here's the replay of that foul, in case anyone wants to argue about it. Doncic makes both free throws to cut it to 1. It's a starting lineup, except Naz is in for Cat, who has struggled this game. Edwards pick and roll. The Mavs switch it, though, so it doesn't really go anywhere. They reset with Conley. They switch with Lively now. 5 on the clock. The floater again. That's good defense by Lively. And the Mavs take a timeout, playing offense, defense. Jason Kidd going deep into the bag, so he puts Luka on the bench for that possession. Gets way more defenders out there. Then takes the timeout to bring Kyrie and Luka back into the game for offense. Little thing down the stretch, but I love that game management. Here is another lob. This time we don't get a dunk. But look, it's the same staggered pick and roll that they've run a ton of in the fourth quarter. And I just don't think you have a chance against Luka if you're Jaden McDaniels going over the screen like this. Gobert with the drop coverage, but he's in no man's land, which means Conley's the only guy back. And a nice little wrinkle on the play call out of the timeout from Kidd, where Kyrie clears the side with an exit screen. We did an entire video on this called The Evolution of Pick and Roll. That pulls Edwards out, so he cannot tag and help on Lively. And even though Conley's there, he's not inside Lively's body. Once again, Gobert is not back because he's halfway up to Luka on the ball. Why is he halfway up to Luka on the ball? Because Jaden takes this really high angle 33 feet away. I just don't think this is the way to play this. And the Mavs have gashed them with these kinds of actions. Looking for Edwards here off the curl. He gets a ton of defensive attention. That frees Conley. So this is a subtle one where when Ant comes off this screen, Lively not only steps up to help, but PJ Washington is way over in the gap to take away the drive. So it's a simple boomerang pass right back to Mike Conley. And look at all this space he has because PJ slid over. Gobert again with the seal. Kevin Garnett used to do that a lot. There's other players throughout history, Bill Laimbeer, that have kind of used that trick when their guards drive. Gobert's huge, obviously. A couple times here in the fourth we've seen it. Here's the same action for the Mavs. Luka, great pass to the corner. And then the offensive rebound to get Kyrie an open three, and it rims out. Okay, so it's a great offensive rebound. But before that, exact same setup where Irving's going to go to the corner. Now you see Edwards saw it the first time, so he tells Naz that he's going to linger and help. McDaniels is crowding Doncic. This time gets over successfully. Gobert comes way out. Edwards is in the lane. So this whole thing is much better defended at the point. But Luka still carves his way by McDaniels. And then you're forced to pick between the lob and the three. I think Minnesota's better off picking the lob. That's the gambit that we talked about that OKC made. They have done the opposite in this series. Now Edwards, after that rest, has PJ Washington on the wing here. Doesn't want the screen. Gets by him. Free throws. I think Edwards, at least when he's right, is extremely difficult to stay in front of. And I'm not quite sure why he wasn't pressuring the basket earlier in the game like this. But either way, on an island in isolation, if you're not going to send those defenders into the driving gaps, it's going to be difficult to contain him. Kyrie this time running the same play, except Kyle Anderson's in for Conley, so they can just switch it. Kyrie just turns the corner. He's too quick for him. I wonder if we're going to see a coverage change in Game 3 from Dallas. Kyrie Irving missed both free throws. Uncharacteristic. He's an amazing free throw shooter. Now we get Ant again. This time it's Jones, which is a better matchup for him for Dallas. Jones slides, and I think there's a foul there on Jones. It's a 5-point game with 90 seconds left. He makes both free throws. So Minnesota defensively takes Gobert off. They switch everything. You see Anderson gets out on Luka. Irving on the drive. Now somebody's got to be open. It's Kyrie. Ooh, this is a big error. Jaden McDaniels is overloading Luka's side of the ball already. Ant slides over. It's a great simple decision from Luka to get Kyrie space to attack that closeout. And they're in rotation. When it gets back around to Doncic, two guys are on Luka. So someone should be open. Mike Conley kind of loses track of what's happening. Sinks back into the lane and then doesn't realize he's choosing between Derrick Jones Jr. above the break and one of the great shooters ever, Kyrie Irving, in the much shorter corner. That mental lapse is the difference in a game like this. And, of course, Kyrie, another money shot. So now without Gobert on, they just switch it with Lively. Mavs switching a lot here. Near turnover. And now we're going to get another weird officiating thing. I'm not even going to get into this. The short of it is the ball goes off McDaniels last, as you can see, but he was fouled beforehand. But for some reason, when you review these, you can't say that there was a foul. I do not understand where that rule came from. But nonetheless, the Mavs get the ball back. Anyway, back to this game. Gobert is back in. along with Anderson for Conley. They switch the pick and roll this time to throw a different look at Luka. Luka with the hezzy gets to one of his spots. I mean, that was a great peel switch at the end by Naz Reid. Is once he goes by Gobert, Naz can step up and Gobert can recover to Lively to play the lob. And Anderson has it. And again, Minnesota feeling like they're in the driver's seat. Edwards is going to milk the clock. They switch it again with Lively. Gets to the left, misses a couple passes, and then throws it out of bounds. Tough night from Anthony Edwards. And on this one in particular, Naz Reid is wide open in the corner to ice the game. McDaniels is open in the near corner. There's just confusion where Naz is lifting up, thinking he needs to give him a better passing angle. Edwards throws it halfway in between. Not ideal. But Derek Lively continues to switch in these actions really, really well. Stay down on the spins and up fakes for the most part. The length bothers Anthony Edwards. And so now Dallas with a ton of time. 13 seconds left. We all know where it's going. It's going to Luka. Now, the first thing to note is Gobert is on the court. So it's that same lineup we just saw. So last time, what'd they do? They switched the pick and roll. This time, it's a jump switch. Rudy comes out hard. Gets on an island. We go to the step back. Good night. I mean, that's easy for Luka. Not just because he likes the step back, but because he's like a 90% shooter at the end of games. And I think it's the same coverage. So Naz Reid is basically roaming off in the paint for help in case Rudy gets beat. And if that's the case, to me, then Rudy can't play the drive so hard. He's got to be willing to funnel Luka into help in that position. But I mean, when the game is on the line, the basket must look enormous to Luka Doncic. So 3 seconds for Minnesota to steal it. It's Edwards. Naz Reid gets a great look, and it just rims out. And a lot of people have said, well, why did they go for 3? They didn't go for 3. It's just that the catch is pushed out way too high. You don't want to catch 45 feet away with 3 seconds left. Now, Ant has a driving lane here, but when Derrick Jones Jr. helps, the natural play is to kick to the shooter. The shooter happens to be 28 feet away because of that spacing. And that's it. 2 in a row for the Mavs. The Mavs are 2 from the NBA Finals. Nice work from Jason Kidd down the stretch of this game. 32, 13, and 10 from Luka. Gafford and Lively, once again, 14 to 16 from the field. Most of those were dunks, 11 dunks, 5 blocks for Daniel Gafford. Switch defense from Lively. Hope you enjoyed this one. To directly support us, patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. And as always, hope you're having a great day.